And then I mentioned that Bloodborne can be added to your Steam account so you can launch it from there. There is a video, Bloodborne at 60 FPS already.
Nice.
There was some random Twitter account posting these videos of Bloodborne playing on the Steam Deck, and it was looking pretty good. And then I kept watching it, and then I was scrolling through his feed. I was like, oh, this shit is so fake, because it's just like, oh, look, it's running on Switch, or it's running on this and that. I'm like, okay, bro, like, we get it.
That's what usually the Bloodborne news is. It's just a click farm.
Mm-hmm. It's that easy, guys. So welcome to the Bloodborne podcast. Yeah.
It's actually happening though. That's cool. Yeah, the mod support's gonna be crazy. I am not creative enough to really know what's gonna be in store, but there's gonna be a lot. The mod community has been pretty crazy with like the Elden Ring had Graceborn, the Bloodborne I guess reskin.
Yeah, it also had Convergence before that.
Yeah.
Oh, what was Convergence in Elden Ring?
It was like a mod that added 30 or 300 hours, an exhaustive overhaul of Elden Ring, dozens of new weapons, hundreds of new spells, extensively revamped areas, maps, new enemies, bosses, and much more. It includes 27 new classes. Each class has their own starting location and progression path through the lands between. Boss resurrection, so we can basically redo boss fights. Remnant crafting, craft talismans and physic tiers through the grace menu using the new crafting materials found in the world. Oh, this is cool. The Erdtree network. Go almost anywhere in the world by defeating the local Erdtree bosses and teleporting to your desired location. So you don't have to wait at a grace anymore. You can just like beat an Erdtree boss and then like go anywhere in that area of the map. Dungeon overhauls. Many dungeons have been overhauled, tweaked, or expanded. New equipment, new bosses, much more. There's a features list. It's pretty cool. The manpower and hours that are put into these kind of mods are ridiculous, you know? Like, you'd follow them on, like, Twitter or on the subreddit, and they'll just be cataloging, like, months and months and months of work, updating little over time, like, saving it up all at once until they can just release, like, a base version of the mod before they do any updates. It kind of reminds me a lot of the... I don't know if you guys remember like Fallout London.
Yeah, we talked about it.
They actually did an update for that mod as well because there were a lot of like crashes and stuff like that. So they've added some tweaks to it since the mod came out.
I wanted to start off with mentioning the PS5 Pro, but we could hold off on that because I found something that got announced today. I'm going to post it in the show notes here. The beta for it's coming out soon, I believe. It's called Byte Breakers. This is from Odyssey Interactive. They've only made like one a game so far. That recently just ended, so they're coming out with this new game. And they're just talking about how like they're here to be innovative, to bring fun to games, and just kind of just do things. At the end of it, they showed off the gameplay, and it's a platform fighter battle royale up to 40 players, and it looks pretty good.
Looks pretty cool.
You know what this reminds me of? I remember it was a game that was from the computer like a couple of years ago. It was like an online game, and it like reminds me of like the PvP for this.
I was expecting like, oh, it's just one giant stage, everybody playing at once, like that. Like, oh, that's pretty crazy. But no, it looks like multiple stages, probably minimum of 4 people per stage fighting. And then there is the storm aspect to where it'll shrink it all down into one stage.
That's pretty interesting.
I'm also curious, like at the end, how many playable characters? Because you're gonna hop on and there's gonna be like 12 of like the OP character, and then like you're the only person using like whatever character you're using.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's going to come out a little unbalanced to begin with. All fighting games tend to be a little bit unbalanced once they get like into players' hands. It really just comes down to how they're going to end up deciding what needs a nerf and what needs a buff. It takes away from another MMO game that I used to see a lot, which at this time I can't remember the name of. I'm looking for it. That kind of platforming fighting. It looks very, like, I would say clunky to a point where there are definitely going to be a lot of frame traps, like moves that, like, barely grab you by, like, the edge of whatever sort of, like, move that they're doing. If they do, like, let's say, for example, like a Getsuga, or from what I saw in the little trailer right here, there was, like, a little move that one of the girls does where she, like, does, like, an up smash or something like that. And I was just like, oh, yeah, that looks wide enough where I feel like I can get out of the way or be wide enough and still get hit if I like do a punch or something like that, you know? I can imagine, like I said, there's going to be a lot of moments where they're going to need to like buff or nerf or make adjustments to a lot of like the mechanics for the game. Yeah, there's a lot of AoE attacks.
Yeah, I think that makes sense just because like how chaotic it's going to get, like especially towards the end. Yeah, that's pretty fun, man. Like, yeah, Battle Royale as a genre or a subgenre, you know, you could do a lot. There's so many, like when Hunter's Arena and like Naraka Blade Point came out, it's like, oh, a melee Battle Royale. Okay, cool, something different. Then, yeah, that was just announced today as of this recording. So now that we got some positive in there, let's go ahead and drag out this news. The freaking PS5 Pro got officially revealed. You know, like on paper, I get it. Like the stats improvements and stuff sounds nice, but then you just look at it and then it's a $700 price point for a digital console. It's just pretty steep, man. Nobody really asked for this, right?
Right. But they've always released a Pro, so it makes sense that they do it, but at this point, I feel like everybody's happy with their console at this point. Anything more is like just a flex, you know? I just don't think it's gonna sell out as fast as the PS5 when it initially dropped. You know, there's gonna be a bunch of people selling a bunch of consoles that they picked up. I don't think much of that's gonna happen this time. It's pretty steep, and it's more expensive outside of the country too, so probably gonna hurt sales even more.
Yeah, I think like in Canada, it's like $900 or something.
It's insane.
The big argument is like, okay, well, if you want all these upgrades and you're selling your console for $200 more than what it was at launch, then these people can just get a PC instead. That is fair. And like, yeah, looking at the specs, like, yeah, you're better off just getting the PC because the performance that it's selling, it's better over there on the Steam side of things. Yeah. So there's kind of really like no point unless there's just the diehard people that don't want a PC. Then sure, I guess. You know, like if you really want ray tracing on while you're playing your games, then I guess this is the console for you.
It's like the most trying to be a PC console. Like it's pretty close, and I feel like it's getting closer to where trying to be indistinguishable from a mid-tier pre-built PC, which is like at that point it's going to be more expensive to actually produce such a console. You might as well just like save that money plus like a little bit more, like half of what you saved, and then just shell out on a pre-built. At this point they're nudging you closer and closer to it.
Honestly, yeah, because you're not that far off from where we are now. It's like 300. Most of them are like 1,000 minimum if you want something decent. I would imagine. I think there was one video that I saw that kind of said it best. It's like for you to get a PS5 Pro, it would be like if you were that person who just needed to have the best thing out there at the time. It's kind of stupid to say, but if money was really no object for you, you're just the type of person like that just needs to have something when it comes out. You know, like every time an iPhone comes out or something. That's pretty much my idea of like what the target audience is for now on the release. You know, reviewers, streamers, like whoever, just people who are going to be like, I need to have this because I need a flex, basically, you know, like what you were saying earlier.
Like there was always the discussion, like even years ago, like a few years after the PS5 dropped, is are they even going to do a Pro because the technological jump from 4 to 5 is so good. PS5 itself, like how do you even get into a better position, basically? Seeing this as the answer, it's like, yeah, I mean, I could have been fine with just having a PS6 reveal in 2 years and then seeing like something even better than this, because this just feels like it doesn't feel worth it. I don't know, like I think it was in the blog post or in the trailer they showed off the screenshots for the AI enhancements that they'll do for PS4 games. Sure, the backgrounds don't look as blurry anymore, but just because it's sharper doesn't mean it looks better. 2 terabyte hard drive for it, like that's pretty nice. We could just buy our own hard drives and just upgrade, kind of thing. And then unfortunate that, you know, we mentioned it before when we got the design looks, but yeah, the disk drive sold separately for $80. So if you want that, you know, you're looking closer to $800. The stand that came with the original PS5 is not included in this. That's just dumb. Why? I mean, like technically you don't need it. Why are you getting rid of it if it was already there in the first place?
It's a lot of things that don't really make sense with this console, but this is just a planned release, maybe. Like, they've had this in the work for a while. They didn't realize, like, I guess, like, how successful the PS5 would be in the beginning. So I guess they just started right away on Pro. Not realizing that, to take words from Chad Warden, PS5 got games, you know?
Yeah.
and it hasn't stopped. Like, it's just been, we haven't stopped playing with this stuff. So it's a Pro at this time right now. I don't know, man. If anything, it's just a way for them to make the incoming generation of video games more exclusive. Like, you need the Pro to play this one. You know, just gonna be crap. Might as well just like work on the 6, hold the Pro, just give me the next generation, you know. I'll wait the next couple of years for it.
Yeah, like I could kind of see that just with the ray tracing perspective.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, if you want to run ray tracing on your standard PS5, like, yeah, get ready for frames to drop.
It's like the new thing right now. It's just ray tracing that people want to like emulate or have in their system. I don't know if that makes sense, but like...
No, that makes sense. I mean, because that's honestly, like, that's the next leap for graphics, I think. Because some of my friends, they always say, like, oh, we'll never see a big graphical jump again from, like how PS2 to PS3 was. We will never get that again. And I think that's true just because of how everything looks these days. Like, the only thing would probably be ray tracing just because the lighting will be that much better. So when we get these triple and quadruple A games, you know, we might actually... will see a notable difference just because of the lighting alone.
I think it also pairs with the engines that we work on. You know, with the kind of games that are coming out now and the realism and the depth that they can put into it, like, those kind of things would matter to those kind of games. It's just a matter of how real you want it to look past the point of what's actually possible for your naked eye. It's honestly a bunch of money to take a giant leap into something that looks good, but like, you're basically just making your TV like a glorified like Costco display demo. You know what I mean? Like, all of those things always look good all the time when you walk in there, but I'm not ever gonna stop and be like, oh man, that looked good enough where I need to drop fucking $2,000-$3,000 right here for it.
And you just brought up a great point. When I saw the trailer and it was talking about graphics and stuff, resolution, the first thing I thought of was, well, that doesn't matter if I have a shitty TV at home. Right? Like, it could run all those graphics great, but if my TV is not up to par with that, then there's no point. So you would even have to invest in a better TV if you don't already have one. $700 is just the start if you want to get the pinnacle of a PlayStation 5, and it's like, yeah, it just doesn't feel like it's worth it.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. And then I'm like, can we please stop with the, here's like Last of Us Part 2, what it looks like on PS5 and PS5 Pro. And I'm like, if you're not analyzing every single pixel, don't even talk to me, because it looks identical on a full screen.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And they're gonna milk Last of Us to death, like people are gonna buy The Last of Us again on the PS Pro or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
To me, it's like, with all the time and energy that they put into like revamping the PS5 to make it better, and then trying to justify the price, aside from the hardware itself, I would have said, like, this would have needed launch games. It would have required some launch games to really convince me that this is now worth the upgrade, that we're getting like a new class of game that could run on the PS5, if any, but wouldn't really be optimal. Like, something like that would make sense to me. Shit, if they were like, yo, we're bringing the PS5 Pro, and then like fucking in October they're gonna be like, all right, we're gonna release like a Black Edition 2, and it's gonna launch with Bloodborne fucking remastered. Be like, remastered for PS5 Bloodborne? Okay, that's something. That's one thing.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because I was talking to a coworker about this, and, you know, there's the joke that PS5 has no games. You know, one thing, I don't know why PS5 has no games, no lie, or whatever the Linkin Park parody song is. Like, yeah, we haven't really had a game that feels like, oh, this is for the PS5 in a while. Right? The only two things I could think of is the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and Returnal. Rift Apart especially, because, yeah, playing that, it's like, wow, this really feels like the next gen, because there's like no loading times, the ray tracing works great, no frame drops and all that. The fact that like there's still PS4 games and PS5 versions of it, like that could also affect the performance and stuff. But yeah, it's just been a long time since we got that feeling, and yeah, this could have been the perfect moment. And it's also just unfortunate they announced this after the whole Concord scenario, so it's like just a lot of bad taste on the Sony end. You know, like Astro can't really carry all that weight by itself.
Man, that Astro game though.
Yeah, it looks fun. I'm gonna pick it up at some point, just don't know when. Again, I wasn't really expecting the $60 price point for it. You know, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of levels and stuff. And yeah, it just looks like a fun time. So I was doom scrolling on the PSN store, as I do sometimes. You know, you never know what you're going to find. Like, sure, all the popular games will be on top, but if you keep scrolling deep enough, sometimes you'll just find these hidden gems. And man, like, I found some really cool looking indie games on the last sale that I saw. And one of them had a demo, so I was like, oh, let me check it out. And this one's called Gory Cuddly Carnage. It looks cool. Like, what caught me was the thumbnail, which is you're a cat on a hoverboard. You're wearing goggles and a sweater. And I was like, oh, sign me up, dude. What is this? Go through the level with the hoverboard, and then when enemies do show up, you can attack with the hoverboard. And it's like the most basic kind of attack combos, but they do a lot of flair to make it fun.
Bro, you play as Blinks the cat? I'm watching some of it, and I like the dialogue already.
Playing the demo, it's just the beginning of the game, like in the first area, and so it's giving you all the tutorial stuff. And then when I got to this one part, when you're in the air, you could do a dive, like spinning attack. And then right when I landed, the game paused and said, oh, hey, hit the touchpad for photo mode. I was like, oh, you sold me. Okay. Yes, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of based.
It has like this...
You said free?
There was a demo for it.
Demo, okay.
Like the art style and aesthetic feels like a PS3 era game that just came out after Borderlands and try to get like, I don't know. I don't want to say like edginess, but like the enemies that you fight, they're just like unicorns and they get more grotesque like the stronger they are or whatever.
Oh god. Right as you said that, they just fucking started mutating.
Yeah, it's a pretty bloody game too. You have finishers on enemies and that'll drop like health packs for you. And it's not stamina, but there's an energy gauge for your hoverboard and that'll determine all the special attacks you can do. But after you do like successful kills, they'll sometimes drop energy so that way you can keep stuff going. And if not, then there's like guardrails that you could just grind and recharge the energy, go
Dude,
back in.
Dude, this game is fucking based. The air combos, bro. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. It is a little sucky though, like just for the phone mode aspect, you have to buy like filters and stuff. I'm not a big fan
really?
of that. Yeah, because like if that's my currency for combos and costumes, like I guess like I'll just have to wait till the end of the game to get like all the fun filters on here.
Oh, definitely Borderlands. They got the same like boss intro kind of the way. Oh my god, and then it turns to fucking bullet hell, dude.
I like how the board talks to him.
I might give this a try. Give it the good college try because this looks fun.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of those games where you just want to just keep going forward. Like I was trying to explore and stuff, but like the beginning level, it's pretty barren and there's like nothing to find. It's like sure there's health and energy, but you don't really need it at that point. So it's like more or less like just enjoy the aesthetic and just the mayhem that ensues while you're on a hoverboard and you're playing as a cat.
Dude, the way that these bosses are talking to this cat,
it's awesome.
I fucking love it, dude. This is definitely a mix of Conker's Bad Fur Day, and like Jet Set Grind and Happy Tree Friends. I don't even know. This is amazing.
That's a good one.
Oh, it reminds me of Poppy. That's what it is. The way that they're all creepy toys and kind of like, yeah, it kind of reminds me of Poppy's Playhouse. All the enemies are like cuddly creatures that are like mutated.
Yeah, like I guess like the story is you, the main character, is a human sympathizer, and all the other like I guess they're pets, quote unquote. They're not a fan of that, so that's why like they're coming to attack you, and like I think you're just trying to leave. There's like multiple planets apparently, because like the hoverboard tells you like, oh, we got to get off of this planet. I don't like this place.
I love the names for all the like the little styles and stuff.
Yeah, cool little just random gem I found just doom scrolling. There's a couple other games too, but I want to pick them up and see how they play, because yeah, one game I found, like, not only does it look awesome, the OST was fucking insane, and
the OST is not bad for this game either.
And that is why I always go to the very bottom of any sale on it, no matter how much schlop is on sale for 30 cents.
Hey, you're doing the work nobody else wants to do, so I commend you for it. 16-year-old me in school would love to watch.
This is what Lollipop Chainsaw wanted to be, honestly.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, it does have that similar energy to that. Yeah. Before you even hopped on, Gerry, me and Oscar here having a little discussion, you could say, about Lookism and Small Daniel. So you've been catching up, Oscar? Is that where this started?
Yeah, I'm just honestly like a little bit behind you from the time that you talked about where you were at before. I think you said you were on like 470 or something. So I'm like at 467. So I'm at the part where little Daniel is throwing down against Big Daniel.
Oh shit. Okay.
So earlier what we were talking about, one of the things that was really grinding my gears is, you know, like we have a lot of emphasis on like, I want to say like on like character growth. You know, as we know, Daniel has come really far in the series. You know, he's skinny now and all of his fighting moves and whatnot. So he's definitely got like the main character vibe now as to what he should. I think that one of the things that honestly kind of make me uncomfortable, I would say, just kind of a little frustrated is they didn't really distinguish like how tall he was going to be coming out of like his like little fat phase. You know, I don't know if you remember exactly like by the time he was done with his training with Sophia and he was skinny, like he was still small. He was like still the same size, like 5. I think you said that small parody Daniel was like 5'3".
Yeah.
So like for a while, as long as I was aware, like he stayed at that height. He didn't gain anything just because he got skinny. When we get to like where he's at now at like 467, and he's right now he's like trying to square off against his bigger body. From the screenshot that I shared, they're genuinely about like 2 to 4 inches apart from each other. So I don't know, that made me a little upset. I was using my outdoor voice when I was bringing that up earlier. And I just kept thinking to myself, I was like, wow, man, it's just like, you're not really that little anymore.
Okay, before Jake Kim is that one dude who's trying to touch little boys. Not Tom Lee, but the other guy. Who's he holding on to? Is that Skinny Daniel? Who's he grabbed onto?
You talking about Tom Lee, right?
No.
Or
in the image that Oscar shared, that after.
Where did he share? Where did you share it, Oscar?
Oh, it's on memes.
Because I haven't shared it yet.
I'm looking at the one where it's the scale.
Oh,
it's like
the
Fat Daniel,
the thing
Skinny
I
Daniel.
shared.
Yeah, you shared it. Yeah.
I think isn't that Logan?
No, that's not Logan. That's the one.
Oh no, I remember
that one gay dude.
Yeah.
That like.
No, that's real Daniel's body.
Okay, so the thing I wanted to say, but I wanted to let you finish, was that when he started losing weight, and I think the first day he came back to high school, on that journey, he didn't wear his glasses anymore because I guess he was like Peter Parker. He didn't need him.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, so like the first day he went in, and everybody's like, "Wow, dude, you're not." And he's actually talking back to people like with confidence and shit. I think that was after he kicked Logan's ass. No, he went away for a while. And it was Pretty Daniel taking over for a while. And I think this was Fat Daniel coming back to school after a hot minute. So
no,
Zoe...
because remember, because his new body, that's when it got captured. And so he was just trying to just save face, I guess, and say like, oh, like he's sick or whatever, so I'm just taking over in his place in school, if that's okay.
Yeah, and he didn't have his glasses on.
It's like post-streamer.
Yeah, he was a bit pudged, but like... he was getting there, you know. I wanted to bring up that when he came back, Zoe pointed him out because you know how she has a fat fetish, and she's like,
yeah.
"Wow, you're losing weight, and are you actually getting taller?" And like he was getting like taller little by little the more he was losing weight. It's not like he stayed the same like height, I guess.
His chibi fat form.
Yeah, his chibi fat form, which needs to come back. Yeah, it's not all the way there. It's not as tall as Pretty Daniel, but it's like it's kind of there. And he did just gain height from losing that weight, though.
The problem with Lookism is the time skips can't be that big because things are actually happening, and so they have to just rush things. And so like that's why he was able to become like skinny little Daniel so fast. And it's like, well, we have to like, you know, bump up his height too at the same time. So I could kind of see that. And yeah, and I was saying before, like hours before we hopped on here, well, you know, my theory is the end goal for Daniel, his real body will just become what his new body is, right? And I feel like we were seeing that so much more now lately with the way he's able to fight, the fact that he can copy fighting abilities. They both look very similar to each other. So I feel like that's just like the course that it's going towards. Did you finish the fight yet, Oscar, or are you still in the middle of it?
I'm still in the middle of the fight.
Oh, man.
I mean, if we're just throwing out hypotheticals there, I can definitely imagine that, like, Daniel will retain his original body, but someone will take over that other body. I don't imagine that body's going to stay dormant forever. I think at one point, and I'm not really sure if we really still know the identity of this body or not, like if James Lee has two bodies, you know what I mean? I mean, we did find out that DK was James Lee the whole time, basically the same age, or he looks like he's the same age as
just dyed hair
as the high schoolers. Yeah, I mean, like, it's almost ridiculous. Like, at one point I will have to go back and reread when they first introduced him, because I don't think that at any point they made it seem like he was like an older dude that was like out of school or anything like that. I just thought he was just some sort of teenage idol. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things, and like, who knows, you know, like they're probably gonna retcon a lot of things when they get to the climax here. I have to say though, like I know I was shitting on Zach last time. He's still kind of a bitch, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean he's doing pretty good. Yeah, he's definitely got a lot better. There's some cool stuff going on. I think one of the biggest moves here, what exactly is going to happen with like, well, I haven't gotten there yet, so I'm thinking like to myself, like, what's going to happen with some of the bigger executives between Jake's gang, Big Deal. They talk a lot about like what was it, like this death battle thing that the first affiliate was doing before they started doing the plastic surgery in the mental asylum. And so there was like a lot of people involved in that too, because Sinu was number one. Sinu beat that monster thing, but before that monster thing came around, it was the executive who's in charge of like this, you know, the ambulance riders. To me, like from what I can just tell right now, I'm always like imagining like, okay, like the universe is still expanding here. We're still getting like more people and more like masters, basically like kung fu masters from the first generation. Mm-hmm. Like I'm glad we're at a point now where like, I don't want to say like everybody's OP, but we're at a point where like no characters that are coming out of the woodwork like left or right are just like invulnerable. You know, like everybody can at least touch everybody, if not just a little bit. And that, to me, I think that's what matters, because it doesn't make you like invulnerable. You know, like nobody's coming in here like they're just already like at All Might level or gun level in this case. You know, people can still hit gun now. I feel like it proves my point. It's just like even if they can just tap them once.
I don't know about that.
I mean, gun is gun, dude.
But gun is like fucking on another level.
Yeah, finish this arc, first affiliate, hop into the next one.
He is him. All right. That's so crazy. I haven't even seen Jun-Gu go all out. I've seen him maybe like half, maybe a quarter, but gun is him, dude. It's insane.
Dude, he's always ready. Always in Ultra Instinct, man.
Yeah, do you think that one of these characters is gonna learn how to tap in like that permanently?
Oh,
it's gonna be Daniel, right? Because he's the only one with Ultra Instinct. Everyone else has their own Sharingans or whatever. Which, again, in the next arc, it starts explaining certain things where it's like, oh, okay, so there is like a rule set on the power scaling here, and you could already kind of guess like who gets what, basically based off what we've seen even in this current arc. Yeah, I don't know about you, man, but when I saw like Small Daniel stand up after he got knocked out by himself and like his eyes were black, I was like, oh shit, dude, let's fucking go, man.
That's the exact chapter that I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's like, this is the match we never thought we were gonna get, and it's here. I haven't started the hunt for Gun, which is the current arc. I finished the Vin's flashback arc, and man, those last few chapters, I was like, oh man, the writing's just impeccable here. Yeah, the fights were great too, but like just the story and like all the events that unfolded to get where Vin is when he transfers, it's like, wow. This
is peak. This was peak.
Yeah. Easily like top 5 arcs, I think.
I think this next arc is pretty fucking up there too with competition with top 5, because it's just so much shit happening, man. It's incredible. Like you said last episode, it's like the roster's here, man, and it's being put to the fucking challenge right now. Like you're starting to see who's stronger than who. Oh my god, man. Oh my god. I read the new chapter last night. Oh my god, man.
Yeah, quick play's over, bro. Pure rank. Yeah, outside of that, I haven't done much reading on other things. I want to catch up on this other webtoon, or at least like finish like whatever arc I'm on before I catch up to Lookism, because I just kind of want to binge it right now. I just want to keep going, and I think it's only like 6 chapters for this arc right now, so I'm like, oh yeah, I just want to get that all in like one go and just be freaking out the whole time. No, yeah, the reason I shared that scale, Gerry, is because like I was just laughing because I'm like, this is like some One Piece ass shit right here. Like you just see the first character is Duke, just this short little guy.
Oh, that's Duke? I thought that was Fat Daniel. My bad.
But then like you go to the other end and it's Jerry Quan and Eugene's number 2.
Man,
like, yeah, it's like it's just fucking One Piece, dude. It's so funny.
I like how this isn't really accurate because like look at the feet for Gerry and the other guy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Literally like a couple pixels, and the other ones are just like cropped at the bottom.
Man, it's just so good. I need the anime going, that fighting game to start. I just need to see it animated with some fucking sick ass like butt rock in the background, just like in the manhwa.
I'm telling you, dude, like catching up on Lookism while listening to the Tekken 8 soundtrack is such a vibe, man. It is like every time I get into one of these like tournament fights, even the one that I'm looking at right now, all I can play in my head is the Storm Rising song from Tekken 8.
Hell yeah.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's fucking great, man. Like they definitely got that King of the Iron Fist vibe going on in Lookism. That makes Tom Lee Heihachi though.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
Dude, like you think you made the roster and then you start fucking bringing back the first generation. Oh my god, man! The hero of Ansan, you know that dude with the fucking burn mark on his face. That guy is pretty much like up there too. Honestly, all of them. Like you just finished the his side story about Vinjay's mentor.
Oof. Yeah,
the guy that fucking Tom Lee was scared. I think he was scared of him. I don't remember, but like somebody big was like, "Damn, this guy." I think it was the village owner or whatever the fuck it was. It's just crazy. Like these first generation people were literal gods, and it's insane. Like that one dude with the head, with the scarred forehead, who's just like,
oh yeah,
bashing his face and everything. Eye. Yeah, man. This is where I need like stats. All right.
You know what my favorite thing is too is that like Tom Lee's like he's part of the pre-generation, and you see the first generation, and I feel like it's these peak action heroes in movies, you know, that are just perfect. And then you look at the pre-generation people, and like there's some pretty boys there, but then there's people like Tom Lee and like that one guy that always wears the cap and glasses with like the frizzy hair.
Oh, like these unspoken people. So insane.
Yeah, I'm like these are some rough looking dudes, but like yeah, they're rough for a reason. And it's like just the dynamic of like pretty boys and just your average Joe Schmo, and like the Joe Schmo will wreck you is pretty awesome.
I think the best part is that all of the pretty boys turn into the Joe Schmoes.
Yeah,
like the 3 old guys that got sent in from Sarah's team.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah.
And then, like, they have, like, the flashbacks for each one of them in their prime and shit like that. You see how they look now, and I'm like, God damn, the ravages of time was not easy on you, my friend.
Yep.
You got fucked. I think my favorite one was the guy who ends up with the beer belly, and, like, he's, like, bald.
Oh, yeah, he just starts combing his fucking comb over.
You see his before, and he's, like, he had, like, silver hair, and he was tall as fuck with, like, 24-pack abs. It's so fucking funny, dude.
Oh, and then you got fucking, what the fuck is his name? The dude with the red hair? Elite, I think is his name.
Oh, James Lee.
Is that James Lee?
James Lee had he has the red hair.
Yeah, the one man camp.
The red hair? Yeah.
No, it's pink.
It's pink now, but back in the day it was red.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
When he was the one-man army. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
We actually need to write down, like, we need, like, a whiteboard, and then just write down, like, everybody. Mm-hmm. See who can kick whose ass.
Ooh, yeah, the tournament.
I don't know, man. God Dog, how many times has Johan lost?
Johan? Not a lot. He's also nerfed because of his eyes.
True.
Once he gets, like, his eyes fixed, or if he ever does, seeing him in his prime condition fighting somebody, he's going to be leagues above where he is now. But yeah, all of his matches pretty much get, like, very close, and then he just turns that tide and just whoops them.
Yeah, he's got that legend blood in him.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to say who it is, but in Wheel of Time, in the final book, with the big fights and stuff, there's just a character that's he's been doing non-stop battles since the start, so he's never fully at 100%, and then he just walks up to this boss fight, and then that person wins. And I was telling my friends that finished, oh yeah, if this guy was 100%, this match would have ended immediately. Like there's like, it's insane how OP this guy is. It's freaking awesome.
So this guy's like in perpetual Dark Souls, but he never rests at the bonfire, basically.
Yeah, just because of like how important the last battle is and stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm an important person. I don't have time to rest. I got to be out there and, you know, getting my numbers in.
Yeah, I can definitely vibe with that.
At 100, bro. Yeah, Lookism is great, man. It's just so good right now. It feels like it's wrapping up, but there's a lot more to fucking cover. I just wish, like, it can get greenlit for a second season. Like, and I'm just saying, please, you don't have to continue off from the last season. Just pick a spot deep in,
jump forward,
and then work from there.
Yeah,
man. That's it. Have somebody who actually is caught up with the manhwa, and then just like, yo, this fight needs to be this whole part. Like, dude could do Hostel. It would be a totally different series than from what it was season 1. I don't know. You could do Chanlang, and that'd be fucking same. Like, it's just not what it was in the beginning. It's like the same thing with I think we said it last week. When's the last time we saw a school?
Yeah, and you know what? They could do that. That reminds me of Noblesse. That's the other like big webtoon that got an anime a while back. It originally got a set of OVAs, I believe, of like the beginning of the series. And for a long time, it was just slice of life, gag stuff of just wacky things of like these high schoolers are hanging out with just this immortal person and he just doesn't understand stuff. And like, yeah, it's all fun and all that. And there was like a big fight. Like there was like a minor fight at the end. But then when they brought it back for, I believe it was called Awakening, they skipped all the stuff before that and got right into the nitty gritty of it. Like, cause there's like a bunch of side characters that got added that have some pretty cool fights. Didn't get their origin story, and it's like, honestly, like, you don't need it. Like, it's gonna get mentioned when they fight a specific person anyways. So yeah, they probably could just do that here. Like, cut all the weird arcs with the stalker, with the camp. Yeah, I mean, where would you even start? Probably, part of me wants to say Jake Kim.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Where like the gambling scam was going on.
Oh, yes. Yeah, because that's kind of like the start of it.
Yeah. That's the start of like the underground crime ring.
That's where you get what's his name?
The little dude that was like Daniel.
Yeah, with the glasses.
Going bad. That is where that started too.
Yeah.
Damn, I forgot about him, man. Oh my god.
See,
dude.
the slice of life was so important.
It really was
important.
It really was, dude. Oh god, this is so hard to animate then. Shit. Because you need all of that, man.
Yeah, because like this, like first affiliate was at season 8, maybe.
Fuck, man.
If you add everything, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, because you can't just you can't just throw them in there and expect people to be like, oh, I guess this works.
Or you know what, just fuck it, dude. The trend's here. Let's just like have all the weird arcs and slice life arcs. Just make them movies. Just pump them out.
You know what? Yeah, that might be the move.
And then boom, start the season where shit gets real.
That's not a bad idea. Slice of life movies and a delinquent series. That's a good.
I've said it before. Like, the hardest part for the anime is how are they going to keep that audience from season 1? That like shoujo-esque art style for like this happy stuff going on and wacky situation with Daniel, and then you go to the straight hardcore stuff. I don't think a lot of those people are just going to be sticking around for that. So yeah, just if you have it split off like that, I think that would be probably the most optimal way to do it.
I hope that they do something.
Yeah, plus those arcs are short enough to be able to be a movie. So when they did the Infinity Train arc for Demon Slayer, they ended up cutting the movie, adding extra scenes for season 2. And then I think that ended up only being like 6 episodes. So like half of a short season versus a movie. If you can get at least 2 movies a year, yeah, that could be something. The benefit of that too is it doesn't have to be the same studio doing it. Like, keep like the shoujo-esque art or whatever from the Netflix season 1, have them do the slice of life movies, and then you get the real hitters coming in here getting that serious shit for Lookism. Have them just start working on like the next season. I'm almost done reading Shogun. I'm gonna try to finish it in the next few days. I guess I would say like the magic of the beginning of it was sort of like dying off and it was slowing down. But now, like, as I'm towards the end, like, everything's picking up now. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm just anticipating, like, the big moment that's going to happen and just seeing how it ends. So that's been going good. The only other thing I've been doing is I've been playing Shadow Warrior. I've mentioned it every now and then. It's like a boomer shooter, you know, like a Doom-esque game, FPS. You have a weapon wheel, you're fighting demons, you're just going through levels. and your main character teams up with the demon mask, and you're just trying to find these swords for your boss, and like the demon world's connected and like these ancient gods and stuff. And in the beginning I was having a fun time just seeing like all the wacky stuff, and the main character you're playing as is a comic book fan, and he's like, well, you know, if I want to be a superhero, I need to get my suit. And then he goes into his bat cave, gets his suit and stuff, and some cool dialogue. It's published by Devolver, so some of like,
oh, beautiful,
that kind of energy is in this game. And you know, I was liking it at first, but now it's like, it's just a lot of just you're walking around until you hit the next wave of enemies, and then you do the little puzzle real quick, keep going forward, and that's just kind of it. It's just been getting stale, unfortunately. Some of the cutscenes are still cool, and like you could definitely feel like era the game came out in. It's a port that I'm playing, and then even with the port, like it's fine. But every now and then, like, oh, if you open a door, you're going to see the loading thing. And, like, you know, it's just going to lag sometimes. And, you know, that's just unfortunate. But, like, it plays fine and all that. But, yeah, right now I'm at the point where I just kind of want to see the ending and finish it. So that way I could just move on. Because, yeah, definitely here the magic is gone, which is sad to say. Just getting tired of just the rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I kind of know that burnout. A lot of open world games kind of make me feel that way, too. I remember when I got my PS4... one of the first kind of open world sandbox games that I was playing was Mad Max.
Oh, yeah.
I never ended up finishing it because, like, you know, doing all of the objectives and then having to repeat that a couple of dozen times. And it's like, you go to a new area, but a new area has just a bigger version of these dungeons. So it's like, it's not really different. You're just spending a longer amount of time in this one place. You know, the difficulty doesn't change. Well, it does change because there is difficulty. So, you know, my ass would just get, like, stuck on, like, one of these, like, basically endgame dungeons that had, like, 30, 40 people, and you can either, like, stealth through it or, like, do whatever kind of bonus objectives that they want you to do. Kind of like how Spider-Man was when you get into a random fight. Having those kind of formulas in games, or in early games, that was just more or less the trend. I talked about this last time, but like during like the Xbox 360 and PS3, you know, we had a lot of like what I called like bargain bin games. Just after a while, just games were just out for so long, you can just pick them up for like less than $10 or whatever. So like so many games like were basically made with this kind of similar formula for like adventure or platform. You know, when we think about fighting games, like whenever I think about like, I guess how many DMC-esque games there are, kind of like where we think about gory in this case. Gory reminds me of Devil May Cry. You know, what else reminds me of Devil May Cry? There was like Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, like the hack and slash character action era. Heavenly Sword, you know, another big example.
Always wanted to play that one, I'm not going to lie to you, but it would have been the same thing, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And especially because it just came out, it was a launch title for PS3, and I guess it was before God of War 3. But yeah, basically like Nariko just plays like Kratos, more or less.
I remember playing her in All Stars.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked her. I didn't think that she was bad.
No, she's cool. I mean, I ended up picking it up like a long time ago. I haven't played it yet, but yeah, I own that, and then I also own the movie. At some point, I will want to watch that, but I hear it's not good.
Throw it up on Discord. It's going to be better with commentary.
Absolutely,
That's right.
dude. Yes. Beer in hand, the boys shit talking. What more could you ask for?
Yes, sir.
You know what else I could ask for? Do you remember like the 2000, I don't remember, I think it was like 2006 or 2004, like the Dead or Alive movie?
Oh, yeah, we should watch that too. Damn it, I don't remember what YouTuber it was, but they did a video about Dead or Alive, the movie, and I've only seen the clips from it, and I'm like, this is such a 2004 ass just schlop.
Oh,
Perfect.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't want a good
one of
movie
those,
for
like,
DOA. Come on.
I think it was more like, well, there's like Onechambara has like zombies and demons and stuff in it, doesn't it?
So, yeah, so I've played 2 games from there. Z2 Chaos, which was the PS4 game, and then Origins was the remake of 1 and 2 put together. Stylistically, that game looks cool. It has like anime cell shading and stuff. Even like Z2 Chaos was fun too, because it gets crazy. Like, yeah, it's like DMC. You have 2 weapons, and you could swap them between combos, and then you're encouraged to do that because there's like a blood meter that dulls your weapon over time. So you just keep switching and like, you know, do that kind of style. But in Z2 Chaos, 4 playable characters, and you can switch mid combo. So you got 4 characters, 2 weapons each, Like the combinations are insane in what you can do, and they all have like like devil triggers too.
Oh, nice.
So on paper, it sounds fucking awesome, but then when you play it, oh man, does the enemy AI fucking suck. They're just generic zombies that really don't do much unless they're a special class enemy. And then even then, it's not that difficult. It's also one of those games where you're running through the level, you get closed off until you kill all the enemies. Everyone's dead, and they're like, why am I still locked out? And then you look on the other side of the room, and there's just a zombie just walking in a corner. I have to run over there and kill it, and then I can keep going. Like, that's great. It's honestly like a solid C tier DMC-esque game. But it's also like one of the games where I just wish if it played better, like it would be so much more popular. And it's also very ecchi too. Like the Devil Trigger transformations in Z2 Chaos and in Origins are just straight up like Witchblade. And I'm talking about the anime. Gerry knows what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
Like lots of cleavage
Big
and
time
panty
cleavage.
revealed when they get like tapped a couple times.
You can unlock costumes. And for Z2 Chaos, there is a costume for the pink-haired girl to where it's literally just... So in the crotch, it's just a banana just right there. And then covering her nipples are like cherries or like some small fruit. And then like that's it.
Oh my goodness.
That's great.
Yeah, it's horny with a capital peen, dude. Like,
And by it, well, let's just say my peanuts.
but hey, while we're talking about DMC... we did get some news about related to Devil May Cry. Sad to see Hideaki Itsuno left Capcom after 30 years. Yeah, he worked on, Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma and stuff, but I'm just bummed out. Like, dang it, dude, like 5 happened. Like, oh, Devil May Cry's back, baby. And then now he's leaving. It's like, god damn it. I forget where he went, but he's going to be doing something else.
I wonder what kind of new games he says he wants to develop. I think like nowadays, like everyone is really kind of striving to make like a new formula of game. It's kind of one thing after another these days when we get like I want to say good popular game that came out. Like we take the open world formula, for example. Like with one game, followed all the other games. I think, I can't really say for sure, but I want to say it was maybe Breath of the Wild first. And then kind of from there, a lot of other games kind of picked up on that idea. Like, I think that the horror genre is gonna like have a comeback. The new like Silent Hill coming and then the remake coming. We just had like Resident Evil 8 finish.
Mm-hmm.
I think that with 7 and 8, they're not going to want to do a 9 and kind of have it like the first-person shooter the same way. They might want to change it up again. I know Capcom doesn't really like to like linger on successful formulas for Resident Evil. They always like to change shit up a lot.
I would agree, but I would think just with the fact that the remakes are like third-person shooters and just the combat's so different from what 7 and 8 are, I think they could just keep doing that in tandem, right? Like RE9 could probably keep the same first-person aspect, and then when we get, RE5 remake, that's just going to be what RE5 was.
If they want to remake it, they're probably going to change a couple of things like they did with 4. Like they had a lot of the mechanics for 6. You're like dodging backwards, dodging forwards, sliding backwards. All of your guns have laser sight, Yeah, they make things a lot easier. The maneuverability really is what was key here. 5 had its own nuanced things, between Chris and Shiva. I would kind of just hope that they I doubt that they would ever add more to it, like an extra chapter or anything like that, but I think my biggest gripe with like how they remake the Resident Evil games is, and I've talked about this before, but they're kind of made to be sped ran.
Yeah.
Like the game will reward you for running through it as quickly as possible. Like, how quickly can you get it through all this content you just paid for?
But like we said before, like to me, that's what Resident Evil has always been.
With the tank controls, I don't know. I don't think that's how that was.
Yeah, like the fact that the controls are different now, that you could even run it faster is a thing. I mean, if you want to get rewarded story-wise and like lore-wise, you're not going to be speedrunning. I didn't play 4, but from what I've heard from people is that there was stuff mentioned in the game that's like, oh, are they teasing RE5 remake? But they're definitely on a good strive with Resident Evil. They're probably working on 9 right now, and you're going to be what's her name, Rose? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Rose. Like, so she'll probably be the main character for 9, and they could go anywhere with her because they got a clean slate at the end of Village. She might just go somewhere different and it'll be fresh again, right? Just like how RE7 was fresh.
For the most part, going from top down over the shoulder down to first person. I think at the time that they talked about going into first person, their main goal was to really incite fear into you. You're not thinking about another character. You're not thinking about Ethan. You're thinking about yourself in the house with the 3 crazy hillbillies. Mm-hmm. Or you're thinking about yourself in this decrepit castle with these immortal vampires. So before we wrap up, we have some questions from the boy Mark. We have an email, unversedpodcast@gmail.com, where you can submit and send all of your questions over to. His first question: what's a series that you don't like that everyone else likes, or vice versa? He says, because despite me and Danny shitting on JJK, it is still a hard fact that everyone in the world appreciates and enjoys that series. That's a good question. For the most part, I'm a big fan of series that nobody likes. I guess that's just, if you think about it, that's kind of like a hipster question. Doesn't that kind of remind you of
gotta go in that mentality you're telling me? Okay, give me a second. Coffee.
Yeah, do you remember, what is it? That one movie with Seth Rogen and Danny McBride and James Franco.
What, This Is the End?
Jay. The world. Yeah, This Is the End. There's that one part where they're having the party, right? And Craig Ferguson's talking with, I think it was Rihanna or something. And they were talking to Jay. Man, don't you just like all of these things? And he's like, nah, man, I hate it. He's like, you hate everything that everyone universally loves, right? And he's like, that makes you just like a hipster or something like that, JJK is still a pretty good example of this question, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, okay, so I'll just say to add on what he mentioned, we do shit on it right now, and everyone does love it right now, and it does sell well right now. But all that positive talk is about the anime, because where the anime at, the series is still good. When I caught up the first time I read the series, I liked it. It's just right now, since the start of the Calling Game, in my opinion, is where it started falling apart. And now it's just a pile of dog shit, and it's ending. So that's why I'm shitting on it. If you go on Twitter and stuff and see people talking about the manga, plenty around that hate the series as it is now. There's 2 big fan bases. One's anime, one's manga. Because of how far apart they are from where the series is, that's where the big difference lies. And whether someone hates it or likes it, and
Fortnite, I hate. Overwatch. I'm sure I can list some classic animes, but I just can't think of any from the top of my head. I just know the ones that I like, but the ones that I dislike, I kind of don't.
At least manga-wise, that I was not a fan of, but I know it's very... it had a dedicated fan base and it was popular, was Tengo Tenge.
What'd you call me?
Yeah, Tengo Tenge. This is the guy that did Air Gear. I think it's OK Subo or whatever his name was.
Right, yeah.
It's funny because before I even read it, I remember seeing it back in the Toonami days, and when Wooly started Wooly Versus, one of the early videos was him dancing in the intro, and just hearing the boom ba heda boom ba, and the way the theme goes, I was like, holy shit, you just unlocked a memory. This intro is so fucking good. And then I started reading it, and I was like, man, this thing fucking sucks. To the point where I'm like, I feel like this is the worst manga I've ever read. I've mentioned that, and then people say, what are you talking about? That's one of the best mangas out there. I was like, literally, where are you are you reading something different from me? Because I can't see it at all. Sure, the artwork's amazing and stuff, but the story, I'm like, this is just awful, bro. I just could not understand how it lasted so long and why so many people like it.
Yeah, I think a lot of older series kind of are similar to that. I personally liked Ouran Host Club, but I don't think a lot of guys would say that they liked Ouran Host Club.
Yeah, what are you, a girl?
Yeah, why you liking shoujo stuff, loser? Go read Naruto.
That fucking opening fucking bangs, dude. Dude, the fucking OST bangs. I
do have another one for anime, at least. I don't hate it. Towards the second half of Cyberpunk Edge Runners, I just stopped liking it. Yeah, just because the downward spiral of David, I just wasn't a fan of. What's the point? I get the point's supposed to be the endless cycle of just that shit that happens with those kind of characters. But I'm I just wasn't a fan with the way the story went with that.
You want a happy ending? That's what you want.
I don't know. It was set up to oh yeah, he's gonna lead this group, and he's gonna get him out of here. And the answer is, that's not how this works, bud. You're gonna die.
You and everybody you love.
You're gonna get your psycho, schizo, whatever they call it.
That's crazy, though. You can't tell me you didn't feel nothing when the big dudes fucking succumbed to that shit.
Yeah, that stuff, like, I was like, oh, man, like, that was really hitting.
Yeah.
And then when David started just, like, going down the same route, it's like, I just feel like I'm just disappointed, bro. Like, why are you doing this? Don't do this. And in that sense, that is good writing, right?
Yeah.
And, like, just seeing the downfall of the character.
You're really in touch with him, making all the wrong decisions. Yeah, bro.
His second question is sort of in tangent with the same situation here. What would be like the one sentence of a series that like put you off, basically? And his example for that was with Demon Slayer, and he was looking at the way it ended and who the final villain was, and that just kind of put him off. Just like seeing like one little snippet of the series said, I don't like that. It's not even worth my time.
I don't know, because it does. I do catch it, but it's like for something that I don't want to get spoiled for. I was on Reddit and I saw a post, like it was just a simple meme where like somebody was arguing that Anakin was a good master to his Padawan, and a lot of people would agree he just executed it fucking differently, but she still came out like pretty fucking decent in the end, and that's what I'm just trying to like. Honestly, I went back into Clone Wars and I forgot about Ahsoka, so I think I'm following Ahsoka lore in the Star Wars universe. Then they started talking about shit, and it's like little snippets like that. Like it's either I'm reading comments or like a little video piece pops up. Like I wouldn't say it doesn't put me off, but I regret watching the trailer for Sonic 3 in that way, just so that like because the suspense isn't there anymore. Like, I know how Keanu Reeves sounds as Shadow, and it's fucking phenomenal. But I think it'd be crazier if I were to just, like, figure that out in the theater itself. So not much really put me off. More like stuff, like, takes away the hype for me. Like, going back to Star Wars, like, how Ahsoka gets to this point. And we know what happens to Anakin and all that shit. But what happens to his Padawan is, like, it's still a mystery to me, at least. So it's just me avoiding spoilers. It doesn't really put me off as much anymore. It's more like, how do they get to this part? That's what drives me in. But sometimes my fucking autistic brain gets too fast and I start like getting close to how it really ends. And that's when I get put off, I guess, is when I start thinking too hard about the ending or how we get there. I'm getting better at that though. I'm starting to like watch stuff at face value instead of overthinking shit.
Yeah, I'm like in the same boat. Like there's been plenty of times in the past few years where I'm like hyped for a movie and then like somebody sees it, like they mention a line or they mention something about it and I go, oh man, that sucks. Oh, yeah. Like I was kind of looking forward to it. You know, it doesn't necessarily put me off. I barely go to the movies these days and like see something, but like eventually I probably will go around to watching something. And even with that, like in the back of my mind, like I still want to see it, like at least give it a chance. Like maybe like his taste just sucks and he didn't like that moment or whatever. Like, again, when I'm doom scrolling on, like, PSN sales and I look at this game, like, oh, hey, this game looks cool. And then I'll scroll through, like, the video or, like, the thumbnails. Yeah, that doesn't look as cool as the cover. I'm just gonna not touch this at all.
Some movies, on their trailers, they don't put the scene in the movie itself. Like, if the trailer drives me to watch that film, if that specific scene is in there, and it's crazy because, like, they're supposed to make the whole thing so that, like, you don't notice that the scene isn't there, but I catch these things, dude. I know when, like, a scene they put money into, and they just threw it in the trailer, and it looks like it's important, but then,
oh, yeah, yep.
They just nixed that entire scene in the final cut. That sort of puts me off, because, one, I caught it. They didn't have that scene in the movie, and like the fact that I caught it doesn't feel like it should be right. It should be like seamless almost. And two, like it's independent if it's like during a pivotal moment, whether or not I think it should have been included in the final cut. But I'm not the director, you know. I'm just the consumer.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, there was a few times where I get out of the movie and it's like, oh, wait a minute, where the fuck was that scene at?
You know,
that's what I wanted to see. Yeah, with scenes like in trailers, at least for me, I always think, well, what led up to this? And then, oh, what's going to happen after this? Again, back to games, like as soon as I see it's like a pixel roguelike, like over the top camera thing, I'm like, oh, sure, that's cool, but it's just so saturated. I don't care. Sorry, not sorry.
Pixel roguelike. Yeah, man, I've transported back like 5 years ago. I remember I used to be all into those. I don't know why, because I'd get just close enough and then I'd fucking die and start all. Oh, man, I hate these games.
Yeah, so thank you for the email. Again, unversedpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments.
So there's this page. I follow a bunch of artsy-fartsy pages. I really like nightmarish scenes, especially if they're on canvas. Then I follow people like Meow Wolf, really out of the box, just really creative, abstract sort of style, you know, almost psychedelic in a way. You know, Alex Pardee, of course, like a fan favorite, just nightmares.
Yes.
There's a page on Instagram called Ecology Homestones. I can't really explain it. It's unsettling, right? I'm just making up the term right now. I would call it cringe art because it just makes you cringe about what's happening.
Like, okay, the real definition of cringe.
Yes, where you get that shit up your spine and you just have to sink into yourself. I'm gonna share this and have fun with that. So from what I've seen, they're trying to take this like pretty much like the allspark out of like these biological things. I don't know, man, because a lot of the times there's like this fucking perfect metal cube inside these flesh abominations. Like he took one out of the ground right here. It was like in some mud, but it's like pulsing and fleshy, sort of like you don't want to be anywhere near that or what it's gonna expel. Yeah, just some fucking weird shit. That's it. Like this one right here, I think is they just take a cube and they just show it, and I think it's a battery, but I'm not sure. I'm not deep into the lore. Yeah, that's a page I followed, and it's pretty out there. I follow a lot of pages that are not within the realm of like within the norm. I think this is art. This is art to somebody. Not to me, but somebody out there is like, I want one of these pumping in my room at all times. It's kind of nightmarish in a way, kind of gross, but sort of interesting. Like there's a point for this shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's not too disturbing, but it's just weird and foreign enough to make you want to keep watching.
Yeah, like this
you're just trying to process like what's happening.
Right. There's a point to this. It feels like there's a point to this, but I don't know what it is. And this last one I posted feels like the point to it. I'm not sure. Like they made an instrument out of this, out of something. I don't know. Like if I were on drugs, I would not want to watch this page.
Is this like a narrative that's just going over the course of these?
Don't know.
I feel like that's like the appeal of like, it's just like these are short snippets.
Yeah.
That's what makes you like want to get drawn in, is like, wait a minute, like, wait, hold on, like, this is like in reference to like the last video, like what is
I see. Okay.
Abstract lore going on.
I feel like there's some of that, because that cube does show up along with that fucking fleshy abomination sack thing.
Yeah.
And then they do come and play in some videos, but I don't know if there's a continuation of a narrative. But here and there, yeah, you'll see a reference to the other videos. If you've ever heard someone say they're day trading or hiking or getting rid of old clothes or catching up with a friend who's only in town for 3 days, this is what they meant. Yeah, just, I don't know, man. Just really out there, real, like, stuff. You can see how rotted my brain is, honestly, if you just look at this, you know.
And that's cool, too. There's a little behind-the-scenes stuff of, like, them making these props. Stuff like this is always interesting.
Avant-garde, abstract kind of stuff. They put some sort of instrument use. Like this, there's this one where they hooked up one of those clamps to the wrist, and whenever they squeeze the cube, their arm vibrates or something, or some bass happens. It's so weird. If you ever just want to, like, I don't know, if you have nothing to look at and you want to rot your brain some more, or with some nourishment from Ecology Homestones, that's a good page to follow for that. A good rabbit hole to dig into. If you're not squeamish, you know. They got the followers. They have me. I'm in it. I don't know what I'm in, but I'm in. Kind of have a bunch of those pages.
Right on, man. So that's going to be in the description if you want to check it out. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap up after that. So thanks for listening again, guys. And we're going to catch you next time.